In the bright and bustling city of New York City, where tall buildings touched the clouds and yellow taxis hurried through busy streets,
Hey,
lived
I was
two
hoping to
beautiful
see you.
boys who were
Me
known
too.
throughout their
This is
neighborhood
great.
for their
Let's go
shining
to the
smiles
park.
and
Yeah,
kind
let's
hearts.
go.
Their names were Ethan Parker and Liam Brooks. Ethan had sparkling blue eyes and neatly combed golden hair. He carried himself with quiet confidence and loved solving puzzles. Liam had soft brown hair, bright green eyes, and a cheerful face that seemed to glow with happiness. Together, they were inseparable best friends. They lived in a cozy neighborhood in Manhattan, not far from the famous Central Park. Every afternoon after school, they would sit on a wooden bench overlooking the park's trees and talk about their dreams. Both boys loved watching motivational stories online. Their favorite channel was Kids Hut, where they enjoyed learning stories for kids and moral stories for kids that inspired children to become honest, brave, and hardworking. They often imagined themselves being part of Tia and Tofu's storytelling adventures. One spring morning, their school announced an exciting citywide competition called the Young Innovators Challenge. Children from across New York City were invited to create a project that could help their community in some meaningful way. The winner would receive a scholarship and a chance to present the idea at a youth event near the Statue of Liberty. Ethan and Liam immediately decided to participate together. They wanted to create something meaningful. After many afternoons of brainstorming in Central Park, they noticed something that sparked an idea. Many elderly people in their neighborhoods struggled with grocery shopping and carrying heavy bags up apartment stairs. The boys decided to design a simple community support app concept that would connect volunteers with seniors who needed help. They worked tirelessly. Ethan focused on the design sketches and technical layout. Liam wrote detailed explanations and created colorful posters. Every evening, instead of playing video games, they researched, drew, rewrote, and improved their project. Days turned into weeks. However, as the deadline approached, pressure began to build. One afternoon, Ethan discovered that another team in school had created something very similar. Their presentation looked more polished and professional. Fear quietly entered Ethan's heart. He began to worry that all their hard work might not be enough. The next day, while working in the school library, Ethan found a discarded draft of the other team's presentation outline. It contained advanced ideas and impressive statistics. For a brief moment, he considered using some of that information in their own project. It would have been easy. No one would know.
Whoa,
The
look up
temptation
there!
felt powerful.
Wow, it's coming
But
down.
when he looked at Liam, who was
Awesome!
carefully coloring their
Yeah,
final
this is gonna
poster
be
with
great.
complete trust and excitement, Ethan felt something stronger than temptation. He remembered the stories they watched on Kids Hut, stories that always reminded children that honesty builds real success. He remembered how in every moral story for kids, the hero always chose integrity over shortcuts. Ethan quietly returned the paper where he found it. That evening, instead of copying ideas, the boys improved their own project honestly. They interviewed neighbors, they added real stories from seniors. They included handwritten thank you notes from people they had already helped during weekends. Their project became more than an idea. It became a mission. Competition day arrived. The large auditorium buzzed with excitement. Judges from across the city sat in the front row. A huge banner read Young Innovators of New York. When Ethan and Liam stepped onto the stage, their hearts beat fast. Bright lights shone down on them. They could see the skyline through the tall windows behind the stage. Ethan spoke calmly about the problem. Liam explained their solution with warmth and passion. They showed pictures of themselves carrying groceries, helping neighbors, and organizing volunteer lists. They didn't have the fanciest graphics, they didn't have complicated charts, but they had something powerful. They had sincerity. After all teams presented, the judges took time to decide. The waiting felt endless. Finally, the results were announced. Third place went to another school. Second place went to the team with the polished professional presentation. Then came first place. The judges explained that the winning project was chosen not only for creativity, but for real-life action, community impact, and integrity. Ethan and Liam heard their names echo through the hall. They had won. The auditorium filled with applause. Teachers smiled proudly. Parents stood up to clap. The boys looked at each other with disbelief and joy. A week later, they stood near the Statue of Liberty presenting their idea at the youth event. The wind gently moved their hair as they spoke about kindness and responsibility. News about their project spread across New York City. More students volunteered, more seniors received help. The small idea from two best friends began creating real change. But the most important victory was not the trophy. It was the decision Ethan made in the library that day. Months later, when interviewed by a local children's program similar to Tia and Tofu storytelling, the boys were asked what made their project successful. They explained that success comes from teamwork, honesty, and hard work. They shared that watching learning stories for kids taught them that shortcuts may look easy, but they never build strong foundations. Their school later started a weekly assembly where children shared inspiring stories. The program was named the Skyline Promise, reminding students that just like the tall buildings of New York City, strong character must be built brick by brick. Ethan and Liam continued growing, not just taller in height, but stronger in character. They learned that real friendship means encouraging each other to choose what is right, even when it is difficult. They learned that real intelligence is not about being clever enough to escape mistakes, but brave enough to avoid them. They learned that kindness spreads farther than they ever imagined. And most importantly, they learned that the strongest foundation in life is honesty. Years later, when they looked at the New York skyline, they remembered their childhood promise to always rise with integrity, just like the city they loved.